flag is out, and the Molson Indy is underway. Now they'll begin threading into that tight first corner. They go through there two abreast, but it appears that everybody is going to make it through okay. Emerson Fittipaldi has grabbed the lead. They're still two abreast as they come out of corner number 1 and head to turn number 2. After negotiating that, they'll go on to the backstretch. They are on the backstretch right now, building up speed to about 170, 175 miles an hour. Emerson Fittipaldi is the leader. Bobby Rahal second, Roberto Moreno third, and Roberto Guerrero is in 4th position.
Everybody did an excellent job going through that very tight turn number 1. There is Michael Andretti moving underneath his father. Michael on the low side in that yellow and blue car. Mario on the outside of number 5. They get around here in about 62, maybe 65 seconds. So it happens very quickly. We're at the last quarter part of this racetrack right here. That's a speed shot as the cars are sneaking around the Queen Elizabeth Exposition building. They enter a series of S's. They're not the traditional lazy S's like you might see at a place like Riverside, but they're squared off. You can see it's a block S. This is turn number 9. They work into turn number 10. It's the last bend before that little dog leg right there, top left of your screen. That's the second half of the front stretch.
Bobby Rahal runs in 2nd position. Now, Emerson Fittipaldi had problems getting his car started on the grid. They had to push the car to get it away, but it finally fired. He was able to get into his normal pole starting position, and he now leads this race.
Al Unser Jr., Michael Andretti, and Danny Sullivan are 3 of the people who had their worst quality.
And Villeneuve,
it's Jock.
Villeneuve has crashed and is out of contention. The home country favorite is out on the very first lap. You can see damage to the left side of the car there, and Villeneuve has retired early. He had big hopes coming into this race. Of course, everybody pulling for him because he's the only Canadian in the event. He qualified well at 104.632 miles an hour. Started off in 7th position, has the Canadian Tire sponsorship back for this particular race, but he has crashed on the very first circuit.
Bob, I'll tell you, there's a whole odyssey. It's associated with Jacques this week. He said before the week started, I've never felt better going into a race. He showed consistent progress throughout the week for qualifying and practice. He changed cars between Friday and Saturday. The crew has stayed up almost all weekend long trying to put together, take apart, put back together 2 separate cars. They seem to have so much going for themselves in this race. Jacques was looking forward to performing well. Things looked good in qualifying yesterday. Just a devastating blow. A very big disappointing moment.
This is a 103-lap race, so everybody now just kind of settling into single file order to see what happens in front of them. Emerson Fittipaldi, your leader. Here comes Bobby Rahal in 2nd position. Behind Rahal would be Roberto Moreno as the safety truck is on the racetrack now, obviously in an attempt to get Jacques Villeneuve's damaged car off the circuit. Running in 4th position would be the number 2 car. That, of course, is Roberto Guerrero, and behind him, Mario Andretti. Now, you saw there in the opening lap that Michael tried to pass his father Mario and take that position away from him, but Mario was able to hold on.
Bob, just to comment about that safety truck being on the track, you can see there is no let-up in speed. This is one of the few circuits that you'll see the race cars out there. There's Michael running in 5th position right now.
He
Mario
has gotten around
6th.
his
He
father.
just got around little Al right behind. One of the few racetracks where you'll see a safety vehicle go out while the field is running basically at full tilt. They do it very well in kart. The kart drivers expect it. The Horton safety crew, headed up by Steve Edwards and his company, they tell all the drivers what's going on. They do a very good job. There's a great deal of trust that is shared among the driving fraternity and the safety fraternity in kart racing. And heretofore and up till now, it has worked very good, and the system looks rock solid.
We will not have an overall yellow unless there is a serious accident that, for instance, blocks the track. But there will be yellows displayed, of course, in the area of the track that there is a problem. And when there is a safety vehicle on the track, the drivers are significantly and adequately informed of that. So the leader is Emerson Fittipaldi. Running in 2nd position is Bobby Rahal, and Roberto Moreno is 3rd. We're in Toronto, Canada, and we'll be back right after this. We are back at the Molson Indy, and we are riding right alongside of Jeff Brabham.
Working over Raul Boisel. They're battling right now for 10th and 11th position. Raul is in 11th, the guy who just moved to the Indianapolis. Matter of fact, both these guys just moved to your neck of the woods up in Noblesville, Indiana. So a couple of northern Indianapolisites going at it.
There's the leader, Emerson Fittipaldi. You can see the separation between himself and Bobby Rahal. Emerson Fittipaldi led for 28 laps in the most recent IndyCar race at Cleveland before his engine let go, and he had to settle for a 13th finishing position. He started second in that race. Today, however, he was the pole sitter and is out in the lead. They come off of corner number 2 now, and down the backstretch. They look directly into a wall at this point, but as you can see, it's a sweeping turn and really does not require any braking or downshifting.
Bob, yesterday in the elevator at the hotel, Gary Ravazini told me that the engine problem that they had at Cleveland was nothing more than a pulley that went away. Nothing really broke inside the engine. All those hours you spend in the dyno, all the times you play around with the computer, all the experimentation, all the on-track testing, all the dyno testing, and a pulley breaks is something that is basically completely out of the control of an individual team.
Bobby Rahal running in second position, just a few car lengths behind Fittipaldi. By the way, tomorrow, Bobby Rahal has a rather distinct honor awaiting him. He'll be visiting the White House and the President and Mrs. Reagan, and we'll perhaps have more on that in just a moment. But tomorrow, Bobby Rahal will be visiting the White House. Now lapping going on already. They move to the inside. At least Emerson Fittipaldi moves to the inside of Mike Nish and passes him. Now Bobby Rahal goes outside and puts a lap on Nish. Still running third, and passing Nish down the backstretch is Roberto Moreno, and a good showing here in the early going for Roberto.
Yeah, Mike Nish had a long week. He crashed on Friday before qualifying even began, and crew chief John Barnes spent a great deal of this weekend, many hours by himself in the automotive. It's another one of the exhibition buildings here on the Canadian Exposition Center complex here. Many hours by himself in that building repairing the car so that Mike could come out and race again today.
Rahal flashing by. Here comes Roberto Moreno running in third place. Roberto Guerrero is in fourth, and Michael Andretti has moved to fifth place. It was Michael Andretti's worst starting position of the year. He qualified for ninth starting position, his worst of the year at 104.532, about 2 miles an hour off the pole speed.
Tough life when ninth is your worst performance of the 1986 season. They're moving up right now on John Morton. Yeah, that's the guy from GTP Racing there, moving out to the right-hand side of your screen there. He got the Dick Hammond Genesee beer ride here for this weekend at Toronto.
Separation between first and second. Moreno is staying right up there with the leaders and is not letting them get too far ahead. It's really a three-car race, although Emerson Fittipaldi and Bobby Rahal are running closest. Right behind Emerson Fittipaldi is Bobby Rahal.
I think in a case like this, and Jose Legarza,
who obviously has spun and stalled on the course and will try to get it started again and back in competition, but it will not be an easy thing for him to do. As we mentioned earlier, Jacques Villeneuve crashed on the very first lap. He is with our Jackaroot right now.
Bittersweet for Jacques Villeneuve, Canada's only entry into this in the Canadian Tire team. Jacques, what happened out there?
I don't know exactly, because the first three-quarter of the lap up to that point, the car was feeling good. There was, the front end didn't give him any sign of nothing wrong. Kevin was really slow, so I was trying to get by him. I got inside of him the turn before, and I was going alongside him going into that turn, so I had the outside. So I stayed around him on the outside, made the turn for a while, and suddenly went straight into the wall. So I have no idea what happened. I don't know.
What are your feelings? You were so high. You were almost euphoric before the start of the race. This crowd had opened their arms to you and had adopted you as one of theirs, even though you're from a neighboring province. How do you feel right now?
Well, I feel really bad. I feel like, I let him down, something like that. But, boy, I have no idea at all what happened. The car felt good. The car felt good yesterday in the warm-up. I knew we had a good chance of doing good. And, boy, I'm disappointed that happened in the first lap like that. I'm disappointed that it happened, so... What can I say? We're going to have to try next time.
Let's update you, too, on some problems that your leader is experiencing. He has no radio right now, gentlemen. He also had a problem starting when they gave gentlemen start your engines. They had to push start it. Could be ominous factors later in the race for Emerson Fittipaldi.
All right, Jack, and another problem involves Rick Mears, who did not have a good starting position way back in 15th. He has been in for a pit stop. They changed the left rear and the right front, filled the car up with fuel. He's back out there, but an early and unscheduled pit stop for Rick Mears.
Emerson Fittipaldi threading his way through traffic. There's Bobby Rahal second to screen. They're packing Rick Miskiewicz, and Roberto Moreno continues to run third.
We have completed 10 of 103 laps at the Molson Indy in Toronto, and we'll be back in a moment. Back at the Molson Indy, the average speed after the first 10 laps, 98.